You're on.
All right, guys, this is Derek Veenstra coming live to you from the Mile High City in Denver, Colorado. And I'd like to introduce you to Rubrik. And our mission is simple. We secure your data so you can secure your business. And what we do matters, guys. So we talk to a lot of customers, and I'm not just talking about me and my sales engineer, Aaron Zishang. Rubrik as a whole talks to a lot of folks. Last quarter, for example, we talked over to 10,000 IT professionals. And we're always asking them, what's on your mind? And invariably, the first thing that's on everyone's mind is data security. How quickly can I recover from ransomware, right? The modern day disaster is ransomware. I mean, let's be honest, out here in Colorado, you're a lot more likely to get hit by ransomware than you are a flood, a hurricane, a tornado, right? And you don't want to be one of those companies with 21 days of average downtime in the news. Not happy, right? So people are asking us, how can we protect their data? The next thing, I think we can all agree, there's a lot of data out there. I actually took it to Google and I asked how much data was created in 2021. Google came back with 74 zettabytes. Now, I'm not sure if, I'd never heard of zettabyte, so not even sure how many terabytes were in that. So I looked, it's a lot. It's about 10,000 terabytes per zettabyte. So there's a lot of data, and that's just talking about the data created in 2021. Of course, there's all the other data that was created in years past that needs to be protected. And it's because of this proliferation of data that automating the data management process is more important than ever, because according to Forrester, typically only 40% of this data is protected. That's not enough, right? Cloud's still king here in 2021. Big thing that we're being asked of is how are you protecting M365 data? It seems most organizations with COVID, it's kind of shook out the last people that have been running Office on-prem to move into the cloud. And there's really a need for additional layers of protection that Microsoft provides. And there's attacks that are happening every day. So people are curious about how Rubrik can protect them from those attacks. So this is what we're being asked. Mr. Customer, how do these topics align to what's on your mind? All right, so we talked about how much data is being created. It's being created by applications in your business, whether they live on-prem, up in the cloud, or possibly SaaS apps. There's a lot more applications out there than there was 10 years ago. There's a lot more data because of them. I think this is obvious, but what a lot of people don't realize is the only place that all this data comes together is in legacy backup. Now, the big problem here is legacy backup was not built for today's security landscapes. That is why attacks are targeting legacy backup systems, because they know if they can take down this data source, they can take down your business. So let's unpack this a little bit. So security in layers, security in depth, right? We've all heard this. And civilizations, they've been building walls just like IT departments for thousands and thousands of years. The issue here is 70% of ransomware attacks exploit zero-day vulnerabilities. So the walls aren't in place yet to stop them. And also, think about some local references here in Colorado, Teltec, JBS, everyone's heard of Colonial Pipeline. These guys had big security budgets. They had very thick walls. The bad guys still got through, right? This is why Rubrik operates with the mentality of zero trust. We assume the worst. We assume they're already through the walls. And that assumption helps us prevent what you see here on the screen, where they get through the walls, they get to your data, and they take down your applications, right? So Rubrik, think of us last line of defense. So I did a little searching here. What comes to mind when you think of last line of defense? Well, for me, it's 300, the Battle of Thermopylae, right? It's Leonidas and the Greeks. More locally here, a lot of times the last line of defense in football is the safety. They're going to be your most skilled and your fastest player on the field. And their sole objective is just in case that runner or receiver gets through the defensive line, they're there to stop the touchdown, right? Rubrik's the same way. So let's play this through. Why do organizations pay the ransom? Statistically, 50% of people impacted by ransomware pay the ransom. So it's pretty common. So of course you always have option one, you can pay the ransom, but that's really probably not a great strategy. I mean, is there such thing as an honest criminal, right? So most organizations are going to start to recover. This kind of kicks off a chain reaction of events where IT ops, SecOps, everyone gets engaged. And these questions come to the table, right? First one is probably the most obvious and the most critical is, did they get to the backups? Is my data still protected? Do I have something to recover from? Next is, how far did it get? What's the blast radius? Is there sensitive data in scope? Can we contain this incident? Or when we recover, are we just going to reinfect ourselves, right? Next, how quickly can we recover? And if the answer to any of these is a little bit shaky, organizations pay the ransom, right? They're stuck in that boat. This is another visualization, but this is where Rubrik differs, right? Because they get through the walls, but we're able to stop them at the point of data, and we're able to keep your applications up and online. And that's because of this zero trust architecture, data protection, data security that we layer onto this. So if we're in ancient Troy, I'm a big history buff, obviously. There's a wooden horse there in the courtyard. We assume there's bad guys inside, right? It's this never trust, always verify mentality. Let's unpack that a little bit further. So I'm sure you're familiar with zero trust. In addition to this never trust, always verify, we're going to provide logical air gapping and an immutable file systems for your backups, all contained within a hyper-converged appliance that we call Rubrik Bricks on-prem in your data center. We do a lot of things more than just protecting your data. We're actively scanning your backups, looking for ransomware. The analogy I like to use here is most backup appliances are kind of like a cat, really busy at night, kind of lazy during the day, right? So we use these idle CPU cycles to look for signatures of encryption, to look for large change rates that typically indicate compromise. We're also doing scans looking for sensitive data, giving you really a heat map of where your sensitive data lives, so you can evaluate the exfiltration risks in the event of a ransomware attack and really close up any open access that we identify. We do incident containment. We ensure that you can actually recover from a clean set of backups and not just constantly reinfect yourself like we've heard happens. We also do orchestrated application recovery. Not sure if you're familiar with Zerto, but Rubrik has something very similar. I call it Baby Zerto, but it allows you to flip between data centers and keep your business running. And all of this, of course, falls under the NIST security standards that you're likely using today. So it's very easy to plug and play Rubrik into the system that you're using today. So if we replay this earlier scenario, they lock down your data, you have Rubrik, you immediately attempt to recover. These same questions are being asked and you have answers. You can recover your data, you can say no to the ransom and get back to business, right? Now, this is why we have a ransomware recovery warranty. We're actually the only one in the business, and it's because we're so confident in your ability to recover. So if you go all in with Rubrik, we'll go all in with you. It's really a commitment. I actually had a brief conversation with our CEO here at Rubrik, Bipul. He brought up a good point where most organizations, they'll sign a 3-year deal with a vendor and then the vendor's gone in the wind, right? Rubrik, we're there with you every step of the day because we're putting money on the line here, folks. Not only that, we put this in print. It's not smoke and mirrors. We put it in the Wall Street Journal. I actually went all over Denver trying to find a copy of this to kind of make this white wall behind me have a little more color. But it's hard to find newspapers any day these days. So I struck out. Now we got a lot of customers. Don't take my word for it. They're 100% ready to recover. A lot of security vendors, I always focus on this middle pillar. You know, they could use anyone to protect their data and they use Rubrik. I think that says a lot. Case studies, we've got them. If you want to research Lang's Building Supply, they've publicly talked about their ransomware attack. They used Rubrik and said no to a $15 million ransom. You can see some of the statistics of the attack on the screen as well. We're covered by a lot of industry experts. I encourage you to do research on us. We're a leader, like Gartner, Forrester, Forbes, right? A lot of positive press around Rubrik. Now, this is just the security piece, but the key here, it's all one platform, and there's a lot that Rubrik provides you. What questions do you have so far? That's it, guys.
Outstanding.
10 minutes, 50 seconds. A little long, I'm sorry.
Crushed it.
That was well done, man. Sorry, that was pretty awesome.
Very good, Derek. Okay, we'll save all of our feedback until the end. You can stop sharing.
All right.